You're not stuck, you're not broken, you're running old software, and it's time for an upgrade. If you want to win bigger, move faster, and live bolder, it's not your goals that need to change, it's your mindset. Let's rewrite the code that's been holding you back. You're not stuck, you're not broken, you're running old software, and it's time for an upgrade. If you want to win bigger, move faster, and live bolder, it's not your goals that need to change, it's your mindset. Let's rewrite the code that's been holding you back. Number one, let's talk about one of the most powerful mindset shifts you can make, trading your obsession with outcomes for a deep commitment to the process. Most people get caught in the trap of chasing results. They want to lose 20 pounds, make 6 figures, or write a best-selling book. And while there's nothing wrong with big goals, here's the truth. Goals without systems are just wishes. What separates those who dream from those who achieve is simple: an obsession with the process, not the prize. Here's why this matters. When you tie your self-worth, motivation, or identity to an outcome, you give away your power. You're constantly measuring yourself by results that are outside of your full control. External recognition, timing, other people's opinions, that kind of mindset leads to burnout, frustration, and giving up when progress feels slow. But when you flip the script and fall in love with the process, when you focus on what you can control, every single day you become unstoppable. The weightlifter who shows up and trains whether anyone's watching or not. The writer who puts in 500 words a day, even when inspiration is nowhere to be found. The entrepreneur who commits to learning and improving, regardless of how many likes their post gets. These are the people who win. Why? Because they build habits, not just hopes. James Clear said it best: you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. That means it's not the ambition that changes your life, it's the daily structure you build around that ambition. Let's take it a step further. When you become process-driven, you win twice. First, because the process is in your control. You don't need to rely on perfect timing or external validation. You just show up and do the work. Second, the outcome becomes inevitable. You get better with every rep. You develop skill, you build confidence, and eventually the results show up as a natural consequence of your consistency. Here's the mindset shift in action. Old way of thinking: I want to run a marathon. New mindset: I'm the kind of person who runs every day, no matter what. Old way: I want to make 100K this year. New mindset: I'm committed to mastering my craft and delivering value every single day. When you embrace process mastery, you no longer ask, did I win today? Instead, you ask, did I grow today? That one question asked consistently will change the trajectory of your life. So stop waiting to feel successful when the goal is finally reached. Start feeling successful every day you show up and execute your system. In the end, the people who achieve the most are not those who chase outcomes, but those who commit to the process, day in, day out. Master the process, and the results will chase you. Number two, from failure. The word alone makes most people shrink. We're taught from an early age to avoid it, hide it, fear it. But here's the truth most never realize. Failure isn't the enemy. Fear is. And the most successful people in the world, they've learned to look at failure through a different lens. Not as a dead end, but as day. The average mindset avoids failure at all costs. It asks, what if I mess up? What if I look stupid? What if I'm not good enough? So what happens? People play small. They stick to what's safe. They only take the swings they know they can hit. And while that may keep their ego intact, it also keeps them stuck. But the growth mindset flips the question. It says, what will I learn if this doesn't work? What skill will I build? What insight will I gain? When you start asking those kinds of questions, failure becomes a tool, not a threat. Think about the people you admire: entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, leaders. Do you think they got where they are by avoiding failure? Not a chance. They got there by collecting failures, analyzing them, and growing stronger with every lesson. They understand that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the path to it. Let's look at Thomas Edison, who said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That's not just a quote, it's a mindset. He didn't view failed attempts as a reason to quit. He saw them as feedback, and feedback is gold when you're trying to level up. When you shift from fearing failure to becoming curious about it, your entire world changes. You become more willing to try new things, to stretch beyond your comfort zone, to pursue dreams that once felt too risky. You start asking better questions, like what is this trying to teach me? Where did I go wrong, and how can I improve? What would I do differently next time? These questions open the door to growth, and when growth becomes the goal, failure becomes just another step forward. Here's the practical takeaway. Stop asking whether you'll fail. Start asking what you'll learn. Take action not because you're guaranteed success, but because you're guaranteed a lesson. That mindset is a game changer. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be persistent. You don't need every move to work. You just need to keep moving. When you replace fear with curiosity, mistakes become stepping stones, and suddenly nothing can stop you. So the next time you hesitate, remember this: the people who win aren't the ones who avoid failure. They're the ones who outlearn everyone else. Be bold enough to fail. Be curious enough to grow. That's how you change the game. Number three, from here's a hard truth. Most people stay stuck not because of a lack of ability, but because of a rigid identity. they've unknowingly trapped themselves in a mental box labeled "this is just who I am." But identity isn't concrete, it's clay. And the faster you realize that, the faster you can start shaping the life you actually want. The fixed mindset says things like, "I've never been good at that. That's just not my personality. I could never do what they do." Sound familiar? These phrases seem harmless, but they're deadly to growth, because every time you repeat them, you reinforce a static view of yourself, one that shuts the door on possibility. But your identity isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. Think of it this way, your brain isn't a hard drive, it's a muscle. Every experience, every habit, every action is like a rep in the gym. When you start doing things differently, you start becoming someone different. That's the power of a fluid identity. James Clear said, "Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become." That means you don't need to wait to become confident, disciplined, creative, or successful. You become those things by doing what those people do, bit by bit, rep by rep. Let's say you've always told yourself, "I'm not a morning person." That's a fixed identity. But what happens if you start getting up just 15 minutes earlier each day to read, move, or plan? You're no longer stuck in that label. You're becoming someone new, a person who rises early with purpose. That's the power of choosing growth over comfort. Here's a powerful shift. Instead of saying "I'm not," start saying "I'm becoming." I'm becoming someone who leads with confidence. I'm becoming someone who takes bold action. I'm becoming someone who lives with intention. This language creates movement. It allows for progress. It makes space for the fact that you're still learning, still evolving, still growing. And that's a good thing. Even better, this mindset removes the pressure to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be in motion. The goal isn't to be flawless, it's to be fluid, to stay open, to keep becoming. Here's the reality. You are never just one way. You are a work in progress. A story being written. The person you were last year is not the person you are now. And the person you are now doesn't have to be the one you'll be next year. That's the magic of a growth-driven identity. So let go of the labels. Release the limits. You are not your past. You are your potential. And when you adopt a mindset of fluid identity, there are no ceilings, only stages. You don't have to find yourself. You get to build yourself. One decision, one action, one new belief at a time. Number 4, from comparison is a silent killer. It robs you of joy, steals your focus, and drains your energy before you even get started. And in the age of social media, it's more dangerous than ever. You scroll, you swipe, and before you know it, you're measuring your life against someone else's highlight reel and feeling like you're already behind. But here's the truth. Comparison is a distraction disguised as motivation. It doesn't drive progress. It distorts. You start chasing someone else's version of success instead of defining your own. And that's when you lose the game. Not because you're not capable, but because you're no longer running your race. The problem with comparison is that it assumes a level playing field. But life isn't a race with identical starting lines. Everyone's journey is different. Different backgrounds, different obstacles. Measuring your progress against someone else's results is like comparing a sunrise to a thunderstorm. Both powerful, both beautiful, but completely different timelines. So how do you break free? You shift from comparison to calibration. Calibration is about checking your alignment, not against others, but against your own values, vision, and growth. Instead of asking, "How am I doing compared to them?" you ask, "How am I doing compared to who I was yesterday?" That's where real power lives. Let's say someone else is earning more, lifting more, or achieving more. Old mindset, "I'm not good enough." Upgraded mindset, "That's interesting. What can I learn from that? And how can I apply it to my own path?" This isn't about ignoring excellence. It's about learning without self-loathing. Be inspired by others, but don't be imprisoned by them. Their success doesn't diminish yours. In fact, their progress can be a blueprint, not a burden, if you view it through the lens of growth instead of comparison. Here's the shift in practice. Old way, "They're ahead of me." New mindset, "I'm further than I was last month." Old way, "I'm not as successful." New mindset, "I'm building success on my terms." Old way, "Why am I not there yet?" New mindset, "I'm learning what it takes to get there." James Clear reminds us that true progress is not about being the best, but about being better. Better than yourself, yesterday, last week, last year. That's the only scoreboard that matters. When you start calibrating your growth internally, everything changes. You feel more confident, more grounded, more consistent. You stop trying to keep up and start leveling up one day, one habit, one mindset shift at a time. So cancel the comparisons. They were never fair to begin with. Instead, build your own metrics. Set your own standard. Focus on becoming the kind of person you admire, not the kind the world tells you to chase. Your journey is yours for a reason. Own it, measure it, and honor it. Because when you calibrate to your own growth, you stop feeling behind and start feeling powerful. Number 5, from scarcity, is a mindset built on fear. It whispers that there's never enough. Never enough money, time, energy, love, opportunity, or talent. It convinces you that if someone else wins, you lose. That success is a limited pie, and every slice someone else gets leaves you with less. And if you're not careful, it can control every decision you make. But here's the truth. Scarcity is a lie. It's a mental prison that keeps you playing small, hoarding energy and protecting comfort zones. It makes you reactive instead of proactive, defensive instead of creative. It shrinks your vision and suffocates your potential. Now, contrast that with abundance, the mindset that changes the entire game. Abundance says, there's more than enough to go around. It says I can create, build, share, and grow because the supply is not fixed. I am not limited by the world. I am limited only by my belief in what's possible. An abundant mindset turns you from a consumer into a creator. You stop waiting for opportunities and start making them. You stop resenting others' success and start learning from it. You stop protecting what you have and start expanding what's possible. Think of it this way. When you operate from scarcity, you're trying to survive. When you operate from abundance, you're building to thrive. Let's break this down with some real-world shifts. Scarcity. I can't afford to take a risk. Abundance. Every risk is a chance to learn, grow, and discover what I'm capable of. Scarcity. Why did they get that opportunity, not me? Abundance. Good for them. Success is proof that it's possible. I'm on my way too. Scarcity. If I help them, what's in it for me? Abundance. If I help them win, we both rise. Generosity always multiplies. James Clear teaches that your environment shapes your behavior, but your mindset shapes how you see the environment. An abundant mindset sees options where others see limits. It sees potential where others see problems. It sees collaboration where others see competition. Here's what happens when you embrace this mindset. You become more generous with your time, your energy, your knowledge. You stop hoarding effort and start creating value. You build stronger relationships because you're not always trying to get something. You're focused on giving. And the beautiful irony, the more you give, the more you tend to receive. Not always immediately, not always in expected ways, but abundance has a way of coming back around to those who live it. So how do you start? Practice gratitude. Focus on what you do have, not just what you lack. Take bold action without waiting for perfect conditions. Celebrate others genuinely. Share your wins, your lessons, your journey. Train yourself to see possibility, even in challenges. Because here's the ultimate truth. Scarcity will keep you small. Abundance will make you powerful. Choose the mindset that multiplies. Choose to believe that you are a source, not just a seeker of opportunity. Live in abundance, and you'll never run out of chances to grow. Number 6, from let's be honest, waiting feels safe. It feels comfortable. It gives us an excuse not to act. I'm waiting for the right moment. I'm waiting to feel ready. I'm waiting for more clarity, more confidence, more certainty. But here's the raw truth. Waiting is not a strategy. It's a stall. And the longer you wait, the more life passes you by. The most powerful mindset shift you can make is this. Move from being a passive observer to a proactive owner of your life. Ownership means you stop outsourcing your outcomes. You stop blaming your past, your circumstances, or other people. You stop saying I can't, and start asking how can I? You realize that no one is coming to rescue you, and that's not a tragedy. It's freedom, because it means your future is in your hand. Too many people live in a mental waiting room, hoping opportunity knocks, hoping motivation shows up, hoping the stars align. But hope, by itself, is not a plan. Winners don't wait. They create. They take action before they feel ready. They move forward even when the path isn't perfectly clear. James Clear reminds us that action is not just the effect of motivation, it's the cause of it. Waiting to feel ready is backwards. You act, then you feel ready. You move, then you build confidence. You start, then you gain clarity. Here's what proactive ownership looks like. You stop waiting for permission and give it to yourself. You stop waiting for the fear to go away and move with it.
You stop waiting for perfect and execute with what you've got. Let's break it down with a few mental shifts. Passive mindset. I hope things change. Ownership mindset. I will be the change. Passive mindset. I'll try when the timing is better. Ownership mindset. Now is the best time I have. Passive mindset. I don't know what to do. Ownership mindset. I'll take the next step and figure out the rest along the way. This doesn't mean you'll always know what you're doing. It doesn't mean you won't make mistakes. Ownership doesn't require perfection. It requires responsibility, the willingness to act, adjust, and keep going. And here's the beautiful twist. Once you take ownership, you no longer feel powerless. You stop waiting for opportunity and start creating it. You stop waiting for confidence and start building it through action. You stop living in reaction and start leading your life with intention. It's not about controlling everything. It's about owning your response to everything. Because the truth is, you'll never control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. So stop waiting. You are not a spectator in your own life. You are the author. Pick up the pen. Make the move. Take the risk. Start the project. Begin the habit. Do the thing. Because the moment you take ownership is the moment your life begins to change. No one is going to do it for you. But the good news, you don't need them to. You've got everything you need right now to begin.